Nathaniel Swopes of Swopes Center. Today we're going to talk to Coach T of Memphis, Tennessee. Coach T, go ahead and introduce yourself.
Thanks for having me on. It's Coach Tony Sarwar. I come from the better part of the Memphis area, Memphis, Tennessee. I actually kind of live in the outskirts, but kind of enjoyed that time in the entire Memphis area.
And tell me, just give me an introduction about your life involved in the basketball world out there in Memphis, Tennessee.
So in basketball, I've been fortunate enough to be able to coach at the collegiate level. Lamont Owens College, where we were a great HBCU out of Memphis, out of the heart of Memphis, Tennessee. I'm currently still with Team Thad. It's a Nike program. I was fortunate enough to actually be able to train Thad and a lot of the local pros that have made it from the city of Memphis and the streets in the area to be able to get out there. I've been able to train a lot of those guys that have been able to get out and make it. And last year, I actually coached my son's middle school team at Arlington Middle. Before then, I coached little high school basketball. But I've gone through all the whole rankings, from middle school to college, and from training, from skills work to strength and conditioning. So anything that has to do with basketball in the city of Memphis, we've definitely got a pulse of, and probably had my hands in it some which way or the other.
It's let people know who Thad is when you say Thad, when you say his nickname.
So, all right, so Thaddeus Young, he's a local Memphian. If you were to think about the top three guys that come out of Memphis, Elliot Perry, I would say Anthony Hardaway, and Thaddeus Young would probably be the three that would be the most notable that have made it in the NBA, that have been super successful in the NBA. Of course, we have Coach Finch, who's done a lot of great things for the local area, but Lorenzo Wright's another guy that you probably have heard of. But Thaddeus is a local guy who actually made it. He's from Mitchell High School here in the heart of Memphis, and he's from the Walker Home area, where if you're from this area, it's a tough area. And his story has been phenomenal. He's been in the league. He's currently out right now, but he's been in the league for over 15 years. He started an AAU program a long time ago with Norton Hurd. Norton started it, and then with their relationship, they kind of bonded together, partnered up, and then taken it to a whole different level. We actually won the Under Armour championship. The first shoe brand deal that Dad put together was working with Under Armour. We were the first team in the state of Tennessee to ever win a national shoe brand from any program, whether Nike's, Adidas, or Under Armour. And Dad was the one who did that. Dad actually played with the Bulls, with Toronto, with Brooklyn, with the Timberwolves and the 76ers. So he's a very, he's established vet. His last year, he actually played with the Phoenix Suns, and he's been able to kind of move around. Played in San Antonio for a little bit as well. Just he's been that guy who's been a really strong player when he was drafted in the lottery originally, then going from there, kind of transitioned from the main guy to being able to be a big role player, to being the voice of the team, and they're looking at him right now as kind of being that guy to put all the pieces together. Thad's a phenomenal human being, just in general. He helps everyone that's ever been in the basketball world. He knows what it is to be able to come out and work his tail off. And if you really wanted to find more about like a story of somebody coming from the hard streets of Memphis to making it, he's that guy. Right now, he has his hands in so many different business ventures, and one of the newest ones they started in the city to help the young folks in here outside of his foundation is Shoot 360 and Inform Sports. We've got a cool little place that you can come and train, and he's added some of the coolest technology that you can find out right now, and he's put it together in one gym, whether it's like interactive dribbling machines or the Noah's Ark technology, so that the next Thaddeus Young that wants to come out of Memphis could actually get his start. And we actually use that same place to train our guys right now for the Nike. We're in the EYBL right now. So EYBL is the highest level high school basketball program that's out there. Last 2 years, we made it to the Peach Jam. Peach Jam, of course, if you know anything about LeBron, if you want to see all the stars come out, and either whether they're coaching or their kids are playing, and it's Carmelo Anthony versus Bryce, or back in the day when Bronny was playing. That's where you get to see the fresh talent coming out. AJ Dubai, we got to play him here in Memphis, and we use it as a platform to get our young men the opportunity to get showcased, get their notoriety out there, show what they can do at the college level, and then with college coaches in front of college coaches, and then at the Peach Jam, man, it's crazy because we're on NBA TV every game, and then you got like actual scouts starting from now that they're getting out there where they're starting to watch you at the high school level to see who the next big pro is to come out of the high school ranks. So it's kind of been fun. Dad's done a phenomenal job of being a leader about that group. Most guys in Memphis know who he is. He's a big name here. He's a big name in Nike. He's a big name on the EYBL circuit. And that has to do with the guys that he put in place, like Nort Hurd, who's the director of the Nike program. And then I think behind maybe Coach Irvin, I'm probably like the next in line to being the OG of the group. So I'm probably one of the oldest guys that have been around. I was on that staff that ended up winning the national championship for us. So, Thad's just been super impactful for the city of Memphis. And if you play basketball in the city of Memphis, you've either played at his gym, played against his team, or wanted to play for his program. So the people out here definitely know who he is. He's made a major impact for us.
Yeah, that's amazing. Congratulations on everything. So I want to get into talking about NIL. I know you deal with a lot of major players on the circuit in Memphis and outside of Memphis as well, in the Tennessee area. So far, what do you think about NIL and how it has impacted college basketball or college in general?
Well, on the college level, it's like when it first got started, I was so in favor of it. And then, don't get me wrong, I'm in favor of it, and I think it's great for these young people to be able to use their skill sets and to be able to earn a living. So I 100% understand that it's great that it's there. It's great that it's started. It just has completely revolutionized everything that was going on so many different levels. How you conduct business nowadays when you're talking to a high school recruit. That was never a conversation 5 years ago of what we had to do in that field, in that area. Nowadays, when you even talk to high school kids, they come with managers. To think that back in the day, you used to call them runners, but runners were, guys that kind of would try to make deals for guys behind closed doors, and they were there. They just, kind of hid in the background. And
they said like some kids that had their uncle or somebody. It got kind of bad here in Chicago. Some of the high school coaches would charge $10,000.
I mean, and $10,000 back in the day was huge. Nowadays, you got these young guys, even at the high school level, who are asking for more than that to go to prep schools. Back in the day, what you can afford on some of these things, just some of the stories that I've heard, where you see, of course, the things that some of the lower level programs can afford, like extra hotel rooms and rental cars and food, and they got to be treated a specific way. They need so many minutes per game. They want to be able to be allowed to touch the ball. If you got a big man, he needs 4 threes in a game. He needs so many minutes, and he needs a hotel room for his folks and a car to drive himself. It's crazy to hear some of the things that I've heard and seen, and with other programs in the area, to see what happens. It's just kind of enlightening, and then it also changes how you can coach these young people today. That's the thing. I think a lot of people wonder, how does the rubber meet the road? And when you see that, if there's a kid that's making more money than you, what can you tell them? If you got a kid that you've been recruiting your tail off, and back in the day, we used to use, hey, if you play for us, we're gonna, you get to wear this jersey and wear these shoes, and you get to travel to Chicago, to Los Angeles, to New York, to Florida, and you get to see the world, and you get the opportunity to play in front of the biggest players. To these kids nowadays, that's nothing. That's nothing. Getting gear and being able to travel is nothing. These guys are being showcased on commercials on social media for clothes, for dribbling, like a basketball dribbling technology, different gear, different clothing lines, and whatnot. So that's kind of really changed it. So now when you got to go get on a kid and tell him that he's not pushing enough, and he gets into his feelings because he's got a manager, a mom, a dad, an uncle who's telling him he's the greatest thing in the world, and then you've got to be the one to kind of bring him back down. And fortunate for me, I've been able to be in the business world that I'm able to make a great living without just being in basketball. But if I didn't have that, man, that'd be really rough to be able to look at a young man who's making a couple $100,000, off the deals throughout the next couple of years, and then telling them, what to do, what not to do. So, I think the difference for us is, as coaches, we've had to rely more on our background, our expertise. We've got a blueprint and a game plan. If you will stick to this blueprint and game plan, and you're willing to look past the little bit of money you're getting now, letting us give you the opportunity to brand yourself to get into the NBA. I think that's what our niche has become. And then, just the transfer portal. You've seen the transfer portal, see what it's done. It's helped a lot of my kids, so don't get me wrong. It's helped a lot of my kids who have, I had a young man that used to live with us, and the best offer he had was like a D2 offer. And then he ended up getting his first D1 offer. Now he's at a high-level program right now, making enough to be able to take care of himself. And so that's helped out. But then there are those one-off ones. I've got some experience with this young man, so I don't want to really call him out too much. But, you definitely can see how it's trying to change the game when you watch. I know you've seen some memes out there about how guys are better teammates. They're not as good of teammates as they used to be.
Yeah, and them transferring to another school don't make them a better teammate or better in the locker room.
Exactly.
And I kind of think I know who you're talking about. Went to he's back at his original school that he transferred from three or four schools ago. I know who you're talking about.
So actually, that's one. But believe it or not, that's crazy. That's not even the one I'm talking about.
So you know who I'm talking about.
I know who you're talking about. I know who you're talking about. But there's some guys who feel like the word entitled is very much like that word that I would use, because as far as when you come into a program, there's been so many great people, so many great athletes, so many wonderful people that have been there before, great coaches, great ADs, great, presidents, deans that have been at that school way before you even get there. And then you walk on campus, and then you think you're supposed to be the one shooting the ball all the time. And you might have a teammate hit 5 threes in a row, and you're in the corner complaining because you weren't a part of the rotation, and
right.
Your other teammates are clapping it up and cheering, and here you are at the corner, not as excited, not as happy. So, those type of things, I think have changed the way that coaches have to work with it. I think you recently saw what happened to the coach from Miami. I know you saw what happened to the coach from Virginia.
A lot of legendary coaches have resigned.
Yeah,
we're talking about Final Four, national championship coaches. Yeah, national championship coaches, Final Four coaches resigning, top coaches.
Because they can't deal with it. So, in that regards, it's there. But then on the other side, I've also seen the other side of the coin, where you see young men who come over, who have come overseas, and as a young individual, I've seen a few adopted young men who have been able to work their way up and really use basketball and this as a tool to be able to do wonderful things with it. And I think at the end of the day, it's what you do with it, what you do with your success is really what matters, and who you are when you're making money and you're not making money. I think that's the true character of what that individual is and who that individual is. It's not when you're doing good, it's when you're doing bad and things aren't going your way. How you act really determines a lot of your character. And I see that a lot where you get, when you get your parents involved, and there's some parents out here who are hoping that that negative vibe, that negative energy where they're hating on other players because they're taking too many shots, or, I've seen parents, and fortunately it hasn't been a part of Team Dad, but when we play some of the best, I've seen a lot of parents in the stands fight each other because they're arguing with their guys because they might have a son playing, on the same team, and that same team's son might be sitting there ball hogging it because they want their stats. They want their statistics. They want their numbers so that they can get their money in. And so now you see parents in the stands fighting each other on the same team, and you're sitting there going like, how is that even possible? So, we've been able to to have some really good leadership with that, and heard that we haven't had to deal with that. Sometimes it's better to walk away from a player as talented as he is, and then to have to deal with that because you want to protect the other young men that are working hard to be able to do successful things, and trying to use this as a platform to be able to better their families and themselves. So it's just changed everything.